Hi, Professor Worth. I know this is going to be like the most horrible presentation you're ever going to get, and I really apologize. I've tried to do this over and over, and nothing is working, and I didn't wait till last minute, but it's all going wrong. All going wrong. My audience is no longer here. None of my videos were working for YouTube, so I'm going to run through this as quickly as possible. My grade's probably going to suck, but I'm going to give it a go. Please have some leniency on me, please. I'm going to talk about corporal punishment, and, just real quickly, let's just imagine that you're in a store, you're waiting in line, this lady's having a hard time with her kid, they're going completely berserk. If she spanks the child, she's looked down upon. If she doesn't spank the child, she's still looked down upon. So we're going to talk about corporal punishment because they're trying to put a limitation on it. It's an icky situation, but it just fits. Today, everything really seems to be limited by government and the masses, but really it's not the masses of everybody, it's the masses of people that have wealth and time and can actually win over legislation. It's pretty biased, but isn't everything? Corporal punishment has been used for centuries as a form of discipline, and even it's being cut now. Many people and researchers find that it is detrimental to a child, but it really isn't. I mean, if you fully understand what it is, just really understand what it is, can grasp the measures of it, then you're going to see that it's a beneficial tactic for rearing your child, and it really shouldn't be blanketed by legislation. The problem with completely ending the practice of corporal punishment is it really can't even be stopped. It can't be enforced because there's no way possible without invading someone's privacy that the government or law can come in and monitor how you rear your child, how you punish them. There's no way. I mean, even the psychologists, for example, Peter Oak said psychologists will they spank their kids, but rarely are they going to say that you should do that. They're not going to recommend it, but they still do it. So their advice is pretty contradictory, so I find it irrelevant. Furthermore, it's really a tradition. I mean, it's been going on for centuries. If something, what's that saying? I don't know, something about a mule's back. Whatever's work, keep letting it work. So, I mean, you can't really break tradition. Your grandpa was spanked, your dad's probably got spanked, you probably got spanked, you're probably going to spank yourself. It just follows down. No one's going to stop it. And they can't really enforce it, just like the guns. You can't enforce, get rid of your guns. How are they going to say, get rid of spanking? You really can't. And the fact that the whole whether spanking corporal punishment is wrong or not, it's a matter of opinion. You can't revoke someone's opinion or say, hey, you're wrong. There's no boundaries for that. Furthermore, Protestants. Here we go. Big problem. Protestants have been doing it for the longest time because of the religious beliefs. They believe in its efficacy. How are you going to honestly tell these people that your religious beliefs are wrong? You can't do that. I mean, does that not violate the very First Amendment? I think so. I mean, you can't do that. Another big problem with it, to me, is it's going to really have adverse effects on parental hierarchy, the hierarchy in the family. I mean, if you have a grown teen and they're saying, hey, I don't have to listen to you, and you say, well, you need to do this, well, I'll call the cops on you, I'll call CPS on you. This whole blanketing of, corporal punishment is really going to cause some problems. And to me, it's going to cause more crime because, honestly, these kids are not going to have any kind of respect for authority. Not just parents, but any authority. I mean, I went into the grocery store and there was this mom there, and her kid picked up a piece of candy off the shelf and she took it away. Little bitty girl. She had to be in like 4th, 5th grade, elementary school. And she threw this big hissy fit. Everybody's looking, and the mom said, "I'm going to spank your butt." And, you know, she wasn't mean about it, but she said she was going to spank her butt. And that little girl said she was going to call the cops. Now, how are parents supposed to parent their child, whether they're actually spanking them or threatening to spank them, whenever our authority is being controlled by people like the government that have no idea what goes on behind closed doors? We could be the perfect Stepford wife. We be perfect. But we mess up one time. We say one thing, whether we mean it or not, and we're putting on the chopping block, you know? I mean, it's bad. So, I mean, obliterating it's just gonna cause more nonsense and constant chaos. The whole child protection legislation actually came about after they had legislation passed to protect domestic animals. I mean, the kid comes after the dog? I mean, it's really backwards to me. The only reason that legislation has been even proposed to end corporal punishment is because researchers are more focused on finding reasons why we shouldn't have it versus reasons why we should. Everyone's going to focus on, oh, this is old, this has to go, this is bad, 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 bad. Nobody cares about the benefits. It's old news. So sweep it away. Now, I'm going to read these 3 things because this is what researchers are saying. Researchers are saying there's a greater amount of fighting at school, greater tendency for antisocial behavior, and an increased probability of a child assaulting the parent because of corporal punishment. I have a 5-year-old daughter. If I give her the look, she knows she's in trouble. If I have to tell her I'm going to spank your butt, she really knows she's in trouble. If I have to spank her butt, oh, you know her feelings going to get hurt. And that's about all that's going to get hurt is her feelings. But no, she never hits anybody. She knows better. We don't hit anyone. It's called explaining yourself. So I don't buy any of these researchers. Excuses. Now, moving on, to sum this up real quickly, it has been said that there is an elimination of all forms of corporal punishment, as social policy are not based on exacting empirical or clinical data, but they are all based on allegations that the existence of it leads to a greater rate of abuse, violence, or aggression, and that it is morally wrong to cause harm to a child. If we can circumcise a boy, doesn't that hurt? I mean, it protects him, but doesn't that hurt? I mean, does that not compare? I'm taking it out of context, but so are they. I mean, they're not even looking at what kind of type of violence, I mean, not violence, but what type of corporal punishment, the context of it, the severity. They're just lumping it all together. So can we not do that? We have to re-break a child's bone. Is that not cruel or unusual? I mean, they're taking it way off key. So I think it needs to be left alone. If we end all of this nonsense, all of this corporal punishment, we end it, it's just going to cause more nonsense. I mean, let it be. I mean, any decent parent is not going to spank their child with the intent of harming them. But rather, they're going to use a swat on the butt as an effective short-term suppression of an undesirable behavior. 90% of Americans are spanked as children. And none of them, despite what Elizabeth Gershoff says, she says, let me say this real quickly, that the use of physical force will be imprinted, essentially, upon a child's mind, that using physical force will get them anything they want. I don't buy it. Because 90% of these kids that are spanked as children, all these adults, most of them did not turn out to be violent, abusive, or any kind of criminal whatsoever. So I don't buy it. Moving on, I do want to say real quickly, and I know I'm kind of hastening along because YouTube's being a pain in my rear today. Pun intended. I do want to say that I do understand the difference between abuse, and I do understand the difference the difference between abuse and corporal punishment. Some people say there's fine line, but there's really not. It's black or white. You have one man here swatting the kid on the butt. Hey, you need to cut that out, Johnny. And then you have another one who wants to kick someone in the stomach with steel-toe boots because they're asking about a Christmas present. I say this because I experienced this when I was 14. I know the difference. You can't fool me. So with that being said, I do feel that Catherine Taylor did, I read about her, she mentioned campaigns that would, teach parents and the general public about, the difference between abuse, corporal punishment, and you would know about the high risk and benefit ratios for it, and also effective non-physical forms of discipline. So I feel that we should do that. But I also feel that because people are saying that corporal punishment is dangerous to the health and well-being of a child, no, it's not. The intent has to be wrong for it to be wrong. If you're kicking somebody because you're frustrated, that's wrong. But if you're swatting someone on the butt saying, hey, you need to straighten that out because it's really wrong, and you need to understand that it is wrong, then, yeah, that's okay. I feel that, where parents go wrong is they don't explain themselves. If you're going to spank, you have to explain yourself. Otherwise, the child just understands, hey, I made dad mad. Don't make dad mad. Dad hits when he gets mad. You have to explain yourself. Otherwise, they learn nothing. And they're going to internalize that. And, really, you want them to understand that you don't get anything from being violent. You really don't. But what you want them to understand is that there are consequences for every action. And just to conclude this really quickly, corporal punishment, when it is used within limits, can be acceptable and can be effective. Not by everybody, but it can be. And if we get rid of it altogether, then we're going to affect people's lives. We're going to violate their beliefs, their religious beliefs, their traditions, their moral standards, really their unalienable rights. And if we stand behind our Constitution 100%, then trying to blanket the whole situation with legislation, it's wrong. That's not what our founding fathers stood for, You can't do that. Now, really, it's just removing parents' authority over their children. It really does. I do feel that everyone needs to be informed, and we can't eliminate this whole problem, abuse, corporal punishment, legality, mumbo jumbo. We're not going to get rid of that. But we can't just tell people that you cannot spank your kids. One, it's not going to be enforced. But two, it can't be monitored. Three, it doesn't allow parents to be parents. Part of being a parent is understanding how to deal with your child. The government doesn't know how to deal with your child. They can try. They'll get put in foster care. And there's even twisted foster families out there that just want to check. So, I think, honestly, used within reason, it should be accepted. I'm hoping this goes through correctly. Thank you.